The stagecoach slammed to a halt so hard I nearly tumbled from my seat, my heart pounding like a war drum as a crimson dust storm whipped around us. Through the haze, I heard distant gunshots cracking like thunder over the scorched Arizona badlands. My fingers tightened around the silver locket at my throat, the one Daniel had given me on our wedding day. Now a cold reminder of the emptiness he'd left behind. 2 months since the Silver Peak mine swallowed him whole. And here I was, Elizabeth Thorne, a widow chasing ghosts in a god-forsaken town called Dusty Hollow. The driver yelled something about outlaws on the trail, but I couldn't wait for safety. I had to get off, had to keep moving before grief caught up and buried me too. I stepped down into the blistering heat, my boots sinking into the parched earth, the air thick with the scent of sagebrush and sweat. Dusty Hollow sprawled before me like a forgotten dream, weather-beaten wooden facades leaning against each other, signs creaking in the wind, and eyes peering from behind grimy windows. Whispers of land grabs and ruthless mine barons had drawn me here, chasing rumors of Daniel's distant cousin who might hold answers to the accident that stole my husband. But as I hefted my carpet bag, the weight of loneliness pressed harder than the sun. Daniel's letters burned in my memory, frantic scrawls about Victor Kane's cost-cutting, the unstable shafts ready to collapse. It wasn't fate, it was murder, plain and cruel, and I'd come to this frontier hell to prove it, or die trying. First stop was the frontier in a sagging two-story heap with a porch that looked ready to collapse. The clerk, a wiry man with a mustache like a broom bristle, eyed me up and down, his sneer deepening when he saw my morning black. "Room for one?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. He leaned on the counter, chewing tobacco. "Sorry, ma'am, full up. A widow travelin' alone. Folks round here don't cotton to that kind of trouble." His words stung like salt in a fresh wound, stirring the ache in my chest, the same judgment I'd fled from back in the mining camps. I was no fragile flower. I'd balanced books for Daniel, nursed him through fevers, built a life from dust. But out here, a woman without a man was either pitied or prey. 3 more boarding houses turned me away with the same flimsy lisinal rooms, or prices jacked sky-high. By the time the sun dipped low, casting long shadows like accusing fingers, exhaustion clawed at me. My feet throbbed, my throat parched, but pride kept me upright. That's when I spotted the Last Chance Saloon at the town's ragged edge, its swinging doors belching laughter and piano tunes into the twilight. It wasn't a place for a lady hell. It wasn't even a place for the living sometimes, but the sign promised rooms upstairs. And desperation has a way of rewriting rules. Pushing through those doors felt like stepping into a storm. The air reeked of whiskey, cigar smoke, and unwashed dreams. Men hunched over card tables, their eyes gleaming with greed, while women in low-cut dresses floated like ghosts, pouring drinks with painted smiles that didn't reach their eyes. One of them, a redhead named Rosie with freckles like scattered buckshot, caught my gaze and winked sympathetically. "Honey, you look like you've seen better days. Need a stiff one." I shook my head, ignoring the leers as I approached the bar. The bartender, a bear of a man with arms like oak trunks and a scar snaking down his cheek, stopped polishing a glass. "What'll it be, ma'am?" "A room. Just for the night." My words hung in the sudden hush, every head turning. He scratched his beard, glancing at the crowd. "Got one left, but it's spoken for. Fellas out riding, won't be back till morning. And there's only one bed." The room erupted in low chuckles, testing me, daring me to bolt. But I thought of Daniel's warm embrace, now gone forever, and the fire in my belly ignited. I met the bartender's eyes, unflinching. "That's perfect." Gasps rippled through, but I didn't care. Let them judge. Survival wasn't about their approval. As I climbed the creaky stairs, key in hand, I felt a pair of eyes burning into my back, not hostile, but intense. In the dim room, with its narrow bed and cracked wash basin, I collapsed, the locket cooled against my skin. Tears came unbidden, hot and silent. "Daniel, why'd you leave me to this?" The world saw me as broken, but inside, a spark flickered a hunger for more than mere endurance. Sleep claimed me like a reluctant lover, deep and dreamless. Dawn broke harsh, spilling golden light through the grimy window. Downstairs, the saloon was a ghost of itself, just the bartender sweeping sawdust and Rosie nursing a coffee. "You stirred the pot last night, darling," she said with a wry smile. "Folks round here love a scandal." I nodded, slipping out into the street where the town stirred like a waking beast. Whispers followed me, curtains twitching, women clucking behind gloved hands. "That's the widow who bedded down at the last chance," one hissed to her friend, a plump matron with a bonnet tied too tight. Their words twisted like knives, but I held my head high. Daniel's memory, my shield. At the general store, old man Wilkins overcharged me for flour and jerked beef, his eyes narrow. Cash up front, no exceptions for your type. Humiliation burned, but I paid, clutching my bag like a lifeline. Searching for Daniel's cousin at the post office yielded nothing. The clerk shrugged. Left months ago, headed for California gold. Isolation wrapped around me tighter, a noose of despair. What now? No kin, no home, just echoes of a love ripped away. Then trouble found me in a shadowed alley behind the livery. For roughnecks blocked my path, their grins feral under battered hats. "Well, ain't you the bold one?" the leader snarled, a lanky brute with tobacco-stained teeth. "Heard you ain't picky 'bout beds. Maybe we can help with that." Fear surged, but anger overpowered it. My hand dipped into my skirt pocket, fingers closing on the derringer Daniel had insisted I carry. "Back off," I warned, voice low. They laughed, advancing until I fired a shot into the dirt at their feet, the crack echoing like Judgment Day. Two scattered, but the others lunged, one grabbing my arm in a vice grip. That's when he appeared, a tall shadow at the alley's mouth, broad-shouldered and steady as a mountain. "Let her go," he growled, his voice like gravel under boots. It was the man from the saloon corner, the one whose chuckle had cut through the murmurs. Jack Donovan. I'd learned Latura, former Union scout with eyes like storm clouds and a jaw set in quiet defiance. His hand hovered over his holster, and in a blur he drew, firing twice. Bullets whizzed past, sending the thugs fleeing in a hail of dust and curses. The air reeked of gunpowder, metallic and sharp, my heart racing not just from fear, but from the raw power in his stance, that masculine grit that stirred something long dormant in me. "You all right?" he asked, holstering his revolver with practiced ease, his gaze softening as it met mine. Up close, he was ruggedly handsome, stubble shadowing his chin, a faint scar above his brow speaking of battles fought. Gratitude warred with wariness. Men like him were trouble, but his eyes held a kindness that tugged at my soul. Yes, thank you." He tipped his hat, a faint smile breaking through. "Name's Jack. Saw you last night. You've got spine, ma'am. Not many do out here." His words warmed me, a flicker of connection in this cold world, but I pushed it down. Trust came hard after loss. We walked together to the street's edge. The Sheriff Harlan, a snake in a badge, watching from afar with cold eyes. "This town's got teeth," Jack warned. "Sheriff don't like outsiders, especially ones who fight back." He paused, studying me. "I got a ranch 12 miles out. Need help with cooking and books. Pays fair, and it's quiet." The offer hung between us, a lifeline laced with risk. Share a roof with a stranger? Rumors would fly, but his steady presence called to the ache in my heart, pulled toward healing, toward something more. "Why me?" I asked, voice trembling. He shrugged, but his eyes lingered. "'Cause I know what it's like to be alone in a world that don't want you." My pulse quickened, a dangerous spark igniting. Could this be the start of something? Or just another heartbreak waiting? I nodded, the decision sealing like fate. As we hitched the wagon, Rosie's voice called from the saloon porch. "You take care, honey. And watch that one, he's got a heart under all that leather." Jack chuckled, helping me up, his touch lingering a second too long, sending a shiver through me. The road ahead stretched into golden hills, full of unknowns. But for the first time since Daniel's death, hope whispered in the wind. What secrets did Jack hide? And what dangers lurked in dusty hollows' shadows? I didn't know, but I was ready to find out.